Good day, everyone. It's Kyle here with our Bitcoin price action update. And I see that Bitcoin was attempting to work its way back to the upside, coming into contact with the 200 simple moving average, this beautiful white line that I have on my chart here. And I see that the wick stabbed it, and a little bit of a rejection is being found there at the time of recording. We see this red 10 simple moving average very aggressively slope to the downside, and it is also squishing that candle body, at least at the time of recording, right into that 0.236 of the Fibonacci retracement. For those of you that are following along with my analysis, know that I'm watching the 0.382, and we see that the 21 EMA is now working its way into confluence with that area. Then up above that, of course, is the 0.5 of the Fibonacci retracement, which was also the breakdown of the Wyckoff distribution. You see that confirmation coming in right here on that candle body closure, and then the breakdown phase began to play itself out to the downside. Now, I'm not viewing this little bit of hesitation on these moving averages as anything alarming. I see this as total normal behavior, as these moving averages do serve as support on the way up. And so when you see these candle bodies break down below them, it's reasonable to think that you're going to see some SR flips. So the former support becoming future resistance. And right now, it just looks like the natural ebb and flow of the market as it works its way up into the more key areas to be paying attention to. So, normal behavior here. Nothing making me panic at this point in time. Not even close. Dropping down to the RSI, we see the RSI trying to put another test in on the EMA here. We are seeing the EMA in the bearish control zone, but it continues to flatten out, so looking good. Perhaps the next step for the RSI is getting back above that EMA, which is the next thing I'll be looking for. And ultimately, I'd like to see that RSI get out of the bearish control zone. And then that would be signaling to us that the bulls are looking to try to get some more momentum behind this bounce as they turn it into a bit of a relief rally here. A very welcomed relief. Down here, the stochastics, we are still seeing them cross to the upside, but no major follow through just yet. But it is nice to see them crossed up, and they are still in the bearish control zone. So still paying attention to those, keeping our eyes on that situation there as it unfolds. Down below in the MACD, we're seeing the negative momentum continuing to run out of steam here on the histogram, and we are seeing the fast line begin to cross back to the upside. So let's keep our eyes peeled for a bullish cross now. I wouldn't say it's an actionable signal. I don't take blind crosses as trade signals on the MACD. Typically, I look for a major break of price structure before I find that to be actionable. But of course, never going to complain about a bullish cross, as that would be another point on the board for the bulls as they try to undo some of this damage. I still tend to think we're going to need some patience here. I mean, the Wyckoff distribution did take a good few months to play out before it finally broke down right here, and then initiating the breakdown phase. And so I don't come into this with that. Well, I don't come into it with any expectations first and foremost, but I look at this like, well, it took a few months. Bitcoin likes to usually do that for the distribution. So perhaps the accumulation takes a few months as well. And if it does, I would overall view that as quite bullish, actually, as it'd be building a very big base of support. And if we come out to a weekly here for a second, we can come up with a bit of a range here. So, perhaps we see Bitcoin range somewhere between this horizontal around the $30,000 mark, maybe even the 55 here coming in at 32,000, and perhaps it ranges between there and the 0.5 around the $47,000 mark. That remains to be seen. We'll just take it level by level. But if it builds a base ranging in that area, that would be a very strong base to launch from. Whether that takes 2-3 months, I'm not overly concerned about that. But that would be, in my eyes, in my book, a very bullish scenario. And I am still bullish on Bitcoin, most certainly. I mean, the macro bull trend hasn't been, the structure of it hasn't been officially broken yet. We haven't seen a weekly downtrend instigated. Yep, we've got some downtrends on the daily, but as of right now, no macro downtrend. So, of course, I'm still looking at this through the lens of a bull, indeed. Let's go into the 4-hour chart for a minute here, see what's going on in the shorter time frames. And on the 4-hour, we were paying attention to what was going on right here, and that is getting a higher high for the first time in a while. We saw this high come in, taking out this one right here, and now we've confirmed a higher low. And this high here has come in and has taken out this one here. So now we have a 4-hour uptrend in play. That's quite nice to see. We're also seeing that price action is getting back up above the 10, 21, and 30, and we were looking for that cross of those moving averages there, and now we've officially gotten that. We also were talking about the 55 here. That price action was likely to come into contact with that very soon, and likely a little bit of a hesitation there, a rejection on first pass, and I see that we're getting that. And as of right now, the bulls are holding the 10, 21, as well as the 0.236. Now, we do see a potential inverted head and shoulders here. We see the left shoulder here. We see the head, and now we see the right shoulder. So really nasty downtrend here. Now we're seeing the 4 hours start to form a bit of an uptrend. So let's see if it can march its way on up higher. And I do think that it will, but that, of course, that's just merely an opinion. What we don't want to see is we don't want to see price action taking out this pivot right here at 36,596. If it does on closing basis, then likely it's going to initiate a test of this pivot point here. And of course, we don't want to be losing this pivot on candle body closures either. That is coming in around 33,000, as that's going to imply some more significant downside pressure, and the bulls will most certainly be holding their breath at that point in time. So those are key areas to be watching on the very short-term time frames here. Drop down the RSI. The RSI is well out of the bearish control zone, finding support on the EMA in this section here, and looking like it wants to come into contact with that EMA sometime soon here. So let's look to see if it can hold support on that as it marches its way up higher. It does look like that is what's in progress here. And if it does get up to the bullish control zone here, I'd be looking for likely a rejection of the bullish control zone on first pass, as when an asset comes into the bearish control zone this way and kind of just lives in that area for a while, eventually spitting itself back out. Usually it'll reject from the bullish control zone on first pass. So if you do see the RSI get up there and hit the bullish control zone and reject on that first pass, totally normal behavior. We'll just be looking for a test of the EMA at that point in time. Stochastics, they're doing that swervy thing that I was talking about in the last video, that when you get a trend forming up in the price action, that stochastics they'll just swerve around in this area up here. So, yeah, they're crossed to the downside right now, but I'm not looking at that as a death sentence, as they can just swerve in this area as a trend's in progress. And we do have a trend in progress here. We have the higher high, higher low, higher high. Now we're on another higher low watch. Down below in the MACD, we are seeing that price, that the histogram here, the positive momentum is beginning to wane. And we also see that perhaps a little bit of bearish divergence being found here. And I'll just go ahead and draw that in. So you see that the histogram is printing a slightly smaller island here, as price action makes a higher high. But perhaps most of this is already played out as price action on the 4 hours coming in and tucking into that 21 at this point in time. So again, not a death sentence, but we do see that present there, but we're not seeing it present on the RSI. And I do put more weight on the RSI. However, the MACD histogram can sometimes spot those divergences when the RSI doesn't. But right now, I'd be putting more weight on that RSI, and likely most of that is played out at this point in time. So anyway, my upside targets do remain the same. I'm looking to that 0.382 at 43,517 in the short term. Likely that area will get taken out and initiate a test of the 0.5 over time, which is coming in at 47,561. However, if I see any nasty rejections from those either of those areas where I see signs of weakness, then that could potentially be a warning shot. Bitcoin would be firing off at that point in time, that perhaps some more downside price action would be implied. But right for now, I do think those targets are initiated. I think they're in play, and let's just keep our eyes on those levels and take this thing level by level as Bitcoin looks to put in the bottom here. Anyways, hope you guys are doing well out there. Thanks so much for coming by and checking out this video. Looking forward to seeing the next one. Take care.